Onward, and the Perils of Inconsistent Worldbuilding. This will be very spoiler heavy, so sorry y'all. Onward is a lovely buddy movie and a great family road trip story. However, it also has by far the most inconsistent worldbuilding of any watchable movie that I have ever seen. The background of the story is that it used to be a classic D&D fantasy setting, but magic was abandoned because it was too difficult to master. Therefore, the world transitioned to technology and a more or less modern world. The problem is that the story undercuts this introductory world building in just about every way possible. Ian is given his father's staff on his 16th birthday, and within 24 hours masters a series of spells that are explicitly difficult. Spells that he learns from what is essentially a Dungeons and Dragons manual, which in their world is a historical role-playing game. Worse, after the first spell, he isn't even going from the manual, but his brother's memory of the manual. He was trained by what is essentially an enthusiastic amateur historian. At the climax, even the fact that magic staff was required was undercut by creative use of basic spells. The world building is undercut further by the fact that ancient times were not so long ago. One of the primary characters, the Manticore, is a legendary character from times of yore. Yet she is still running her centuries-old tavern. No one questions this or holds her in reverence, so it's very unlikely she's a rare immortal. If you have numerous people who remember the olden days of magic, where are the wizards? There should be plenty. Even if the need for them was obviated, there should be as many wizards around there as there are swordsmiths in our world. However, neither Ian nor Barley even conceive of the idea of calling an expert to help with their half-summoned dad problem. At one point, the Manticore explains that some young elves wanted to go on a quest, and the cops treat her as crazy, when it should be a routine teenage adventure or prank. Then, the dad's wizardry is also never explained. Where did he get the staff? How was he able to get a rare phoenix gem? How did an accountant have sufficient magical ability to write a brand new spell? And, most importantly, why did his wife know nothing about it? Why did he keep it a secret? Then we run into the core problem of the story. The thing that keeps magic balanced in a Game of Store world are limited magic abilities, limited access to magic, and the fact that magic takes extensive training. These are the basic reasons why you would not use magic to do everything. The introduction explicitly put the world into the final category, with an apprentice mage abandoning his staff to ogle over a light bulb. However, Ian shows this to be a complete lie. Instead, it's a built-in magical gift. Ian can do the spells from a vague description by Barley, in the climax casting all the spells from the movie on command. This makes the movie bleed more into the superhero origin genre, as Ian's character development makes him more and more confident, going from overly shy kid to actively attacking a dragon. However, going from "You're a wizard, Harry" to Dragon Slayer in 24 hours with no proper training makes Miles' character from Spider-Verse look slowly and competently trained, and even exceeds Ray's absurd levels of instant expertness. Of course, if magic is rare, that raises another question. Why would Dad go to such lengths on the small chance that his unborn son would be able to lose the heirloom? However, it's not just magic. The world isn't consistent either. Pixies have apparently forgotten how to fly. They aren't unable to, as a group of biker fae remember just in time to save the movie from a PG-13 rating. They just don't, for reasons unspecified. Similarly, Colt, the mother's centaur boyfriend, casually knocks a bunch of things over as he comes in the house. It's a throwaway gag, but why? He either lives there or comes over routinely. That shouldn't happen. This is an adventure movie, not a slapstick comedy. Then the theme is quite muddy. It seems like they were trying for a don't forget about the past theme. However, that theme is really borne out only in the side characters. Colt, who was otherwise static, decides to start running instead of taking the car. And the biker gang Faye start flying instead of using motorcycles. On the other hand, Mom, who you think would be severely affected by learning that her late husband was a wizard and going on a harebrained adventure, has essentially no change. Even Barley, who was central to the plot and managed to get the closure with his father that he had always missed, acted exactly the same in the introduction and denouement. Outside of Ian, the only development that actually makes sense was that the Manticore changes her tavern from a Chuck E. Cheese style theme restaurant back into an old style medieval tavern, wielding her sword and wearing armor, as her part of the adventure made her realize how much of her old life she missed. These inconsistencies really undercut the world. While the movie was amusing and endearing, much of the movie was world building that didn't make sense internally. Now, that being said, I will give them props that they didn't take the lazy fantasy species for races approach. However, it's sung so far around that species is almost completely irrelevant. If every single character was human, there would be very few changes that would have to be made to the storyline. Why have a modern high fantasy at all if you aren't going to exploit that fantasy for all it's worth? This is so disappointing because this is Pixar. Monsters, Inc., Inside Out, and Coco made internally consistent fantasy worlds. There is no good reason they couldn't have made a few changes to greatly improve the story. Yes, the enduring storyline between the brothers saved the movie, but a movie shouldn't need saving from its own plot. Overall, I would say the film is still worth watching, but these problems would have doomed it to the bottom half of the Pixar lineup even if it hadn't been for the pandemic. And it is so disappointing to see something with potential fall on its face. Far worse than if the movie had no chance at all. Thanks for listening, y'all.